Hey guys, Mr. Mimikyu here, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing my favorite team that I like to run in the Fantasy Cup Ultra League Edition. The Fantasy Cup is where you can only use Dragon, Steel, and Fairy type Pokemon with a maximum CP of 2,500. There are two Pokemon that are banned in this cup, which are Galarian Stunfisk and Cobalion. Galarian Stunfisk and Cobalion are quite tanky, so as a result, they would be doing super effective damage and being able to win in the 0 and 1 against Registeel and Giratina Alt for G-Fisk, while Cobalion can hit against the Fairy types with Stone Edge, or could possibly run Iron Head and it would just break the metagame. Now, surprisingly enough, Registeel didn't become banned, which I'm kind of shocked by, as well as Lucario, because the thing is, even though Lucario shares the same typing as Cobalion, it is way more glacier and can't take a hit very well. And that is exactly what I'm trying to do here with Escavalier. Sure, it shares the same typing as Scizor, but the only difference is that you can do a lot more fast move pressure with counter, whereas Bullet Punch doesn't hit very hard, even though I just wish that Bullet Punch was a 4 energy per turn move, because it would have been nice if it did get that, since I wanted it to become a Shadow Claw clone, but at last it didn't happen, so I'm kind of disappointed by that, and my opponent resigned the match after they saw that I caught the play rough onto Escavalier. Next opponent, Giratina Alt. We know how to play this out here, and of course, we could just let this go, though this is no way that it is a Shadow Force, because we know that Shadow Force is 12 Shadow Claws. I almost said Shadow Ball, but blah. And of course, they try to catch a Moonblast onto Registeel, was it? No, they caught it onto Excadrill. They thought they caught the Moonblast, but instead all they caught was Tapu Fini's hands. And now I can fire off a Moonblast against Giratina Alt. They try to call a Surf. I go into my Giratina. I'm just going to let this go. They threw in a Shadow Sneak. Yet you could have gone for Dragon Claw because it's less energy, because both Shadow Sneak and Dragon Claw do the same amount of damage against Giratina, since both are super effective, but Shadow Claw is the way to go to just because it's less energy. Or I meant Dragon Claw because it's less energy, while Shadow Sneak is 45 energy, so that's something to keep in mind though. And of course, my opponent throwing another Acid Spray. Now, I'll say this team is pretty nice, and of course I think my opponent probably has resigned the match. Man, I'm telling you this, to be fair though, I would love to see some interesting moveset changes in the near future, would have been nice though, but yet we could explain a lot though. And of course Registeel comes out. Now we catch, I hope was the Zap Cannon. Okay, good, it was the Zap Cannon, and of course, they get the attack drop. Darn you, Registeel, and that attack drop. And you may notice in one of my shorts is that there was a match where Giratina did not get the attack drop at all. I was laughing my head off. And oh my gosh, they have Flash Cannon. They give up switch advantage, and they caught the Dragon Claw back on the Togekiss. So that does absolute dog poop. It does absolutely nothing. And of course, I go for a Shadow Sneak. In comes Tapu Fini. I'm going to let this go here. It's an Aerial Ace, and I'm going to throw in a Surf here, to do some chip damage, hopefully bring it down into the red, and we take him down. All they have left is a Whimsicott, which is wow, spicy, I must say. I'm going to throw in the Moonblast. We get it down below, and of course they get the attack drop. And you know what? I'm not going to shield a thing with Escavalier. They got the attack drop, and you know what? They just concede the match. Moving on to the next match, we got Giratina Alt. Now, I'll say this, it's a very nice shiny. Giratina has one of the best shinies in the game, I get that. But I would like to hopefully see if Tapu Fini and Tapu Bulu get their shiny. So my expectation for the Season 10 Rising Heroes is that I hope in April Tapu Bulu comes back to 5-star raids with its shiny debut. And of course Tapu Fini in May with its shiny debut. And they would all be amazing though. I don't like that they're all black though, but it's a thing though, making amazing shinies, yeah, it's not a palette swap, since all Gen 7 shinies are in fact picked by Gamefreak, since prior to Gen 5 the palette swap was a thing to make shiny Pokemon, so that's like something to keep that in mind. And of course I sniped them with a Moonblast. Can we get a boom? Of course not. Ah, dang it. They Shadow Force me. Holy crap, that does a lot of damage. My goodness. Ay, ay, ay. That was unexpected. But in one match, I did shield up this Shadow Force, so thank goodness for that. And I'm gonna let this Dragon... Oh wait, they have a Fire Fang Zacian? Nani? What? Why do you have Fire Fang? You know, like the standard move that you... I guess because of a Scavalier, because, you know, like, Fire Fang makes sense if you're facing off against a Scavalier. And I snipe again. Drill Run! Oh yeah, and of course we let it go. And hopefully, can we survive the Dragon Claw at this health? Come on, Giratina. Proving yourself worthy, and we get to the Dragon Claw. That is just epic. Down goes their Giratina, and of course, next opponent having a Salamence. Ooh, spicy. But I think it'll probably no longer be spicy next season once Salamence gets either Breaking Swipe or Psychic Fangs. Like if it had those two, my goodness, Salamence would be just piercing left, right, center. Like, oh yeah, it'd be kind of not overpowered, but kind of balanced, I must say. And of course I let the Shadow Sneak go. They shielded up the Surf, and you know what, I'm gonna fire off this Moonblast to do some big damage. And of course I bring in my Giratina, and hopefully maybe they threw in a Shadow Sneak. Nope, they threw in a Dragon Claw. Out comes Galarian Weezing. We have a 2-to-1 shield advantage here. I'm gonna shield up here because I think it's probably a Play Rough. Nope, it's a Brutal Swing, so that's kind of problematic. I build up to the Shadow Force, but knowing them, they're gonna let this go because it's a Shadow Sneak. Since like I refuse to like run Shadow Force on Giratina Altered, let alone like running it for Giratina Origin. I double shield just in case it was Play Rough. So my initial guess is probably they're running Overheat for a Scavalier and Scizor, which makes a lot of sense though when you think about it, because with Overheat, you want to have some coverage against the Steel types, or else Galarian Weezing is walled by it, since like Sludge is just a downgrade, and I don't recommend it though because of how horrible its damage is. And Brutal Swing does come in handy for baiting, and Play Rough happens with Stab, but I would love to see Play Rough get buffed next season. And of course, next battle is against Serafel Rose. Hello. And of course, I actually played this match horribly. Like, don't get me wrong, and of course you'll see why. I no-shielded up the Shadow Ball thinking, he'll Ominous Wind. Nope, he full sends the Shadow Ball. And of course, I threw the Surf, hoping to grab a shield, and of course, I idiotically shielded up the Ominous Wind, which is completely unnecessary. If I shielded up the Shadow Ball, he tried to catch the Moonblast onto Registeel. Didn't work out for them. I could have just gone into Giratina to absorb everything here, and you know what, I'm just gonna build up an energy. As you can see in this match, I don't have Acid Spray. The reason being is that I wanted to try out to see how well Mega Horn does for a Scavalier, but it turns out in this league you don't really need it though, so you could just run Acid Spray. So as you can see, he goes into his own Tapu Fini, and this is where I wish I had Acid Spray so I could lower their defense, but c'est la vie, you can't do anything about it though. And you know what, I'm gonna snipe here with Tapu Fini. I could have just gone into Giratina, but since I had no shields, what's the point, right? Because then you're just gonna get destroyed by Tapu Fini's Moonblast, and then they are just gonna snipe me with an Ominous Wind from the Giratina Origin. So good game, Serafel Rose. It was an honor to battle you, and I hope to see you hit Legend in Season 14. And yeah, you really played me very good there, I must say. You have quite the skill and quite the figments of battling, you know. You could like coach me one day. And of course, next opponent, Registeel. We know how to play this out, you know, beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I know, those lock-ons are hecka annoying, like, my goodness. I don't like hearing, it just drives me nuts, you know, because like, you know, that lock-on is just like, man, you're like doing 1 damage to your opponent, and it's very hard to farm down like, you know, certain Pokemon like Chansey, but yet, why would you do that though? Because like, yeah, Chansey has like one of the highest base HP. I go into Giratina thinking, okay, they don't have Flash Cannon, so I'm good to go. And they get the attack drop, and they bring in their own Tapu Fini. You have got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness, I throw in the Shadow Sneak thinking, do some decent damage. Like, not amazing, but that's fine. I shield up, it was a Surf. Darn it, I got baited. Oh my gosh, I hate when that happens though. Like, I know Tapu Fini's shield pressure isn't that great, but what can you really do? It is tanky, it has like a lot of defense, you know. Like, you know, has a base 115 defense and special defense in the main series game, and it is worthwhile to use because, like, once you bring out Tapu Fini, it sets up a Misty Terrain, which Dragon type moves damage is half, so that's something to keep in mind though. But then again, out comes Galarian Weezing, so we're kind of in a pickle, as they say. I'm going to throw in this drill run here, and of course, I decided to shield up the Overheat, and thank goodness it was. They try to catch a drill run onto Registeel. Now this is like really, really bad because my only win con now is to, catch the Overheat right here, and I successfully catch. Did we catch the Overheat? Yes, we did, and of course now we pretty much have this in the bag here. We could just stack up 2 drill runs, one to grab the shield, the other for the KO, and with that, folks, we successfully win that game, and good game to my opponent. Next opponent, what do you know? Giratina Origin, and shiny too. Pretty cool, I must say. So this time, I'm going to like respect the Shadow Ball because last time I got hit by one, so I respected it. And of course, you know what? I'm going to bait here with a Surf, you know, to do some like damage or even grab a shield, and sure enough we did. And you know what, I'm gonna let the second one go because I'm pretty sure that Tapu Fini does beat, and of course they caught it onto Registeel. Are you seriously joking? Oh my god. And of course I go into a Scavalier, and I'm so mad right now that they caught it. They throw a Zap Cannon. Of course they get an attack drop. This is going from bad to worse. Like, you know, the chances of lowering the attack, and can we farm down? Yes, we can. And back comes in the Giratina O. I throw in Drill Run because there's no way I'm going to get to a second. I throw it in, and it doesn't, like, kill them because we all know Giratina Origin is quite bulky, but I wouldn't call it extremely bulky. And I caught the Shadow Ball. Please tell me I caught the Shadow Ball. We did! Oh my goodness, I'm just catching things right here and there. I'm just going to shield up the Ominous Wind, and their last Pokemon is a Scavalier, and even so, I'm going to build up to the Shadow Force, but of course I don't have it, and you know what, I should stop saying I have it when clearly I don't. They throw in, I think it was a Drill Run. Yep, they throw in a Drill Run, and I feel pretty happy about this matchup here. I go for a Shadow Sneak, we grab the final shield, and you know what, can we survive? Yes, we can, and of course I throw in the Shadow Sneak here. Doesn't quite KO them, and of course they try to sacrifice their Giratina, and we farm down. Next opponent, Tapu Fini. The lucky thing is that with a high attack IV, Tapu Fini, is that you can win CMP in the mirror, so that's something to take note, but yet the one I have right here is not that good. Because I got it from a raid over in, I think it was Pennsylvania or something, I'm not too sure. I'm able to get to a Surf. They caught it onto Giratina. Man, my opponent's just catching things. Like, holy crow, what's going on here? And I'm going to let this Dragon Claw go. I didn't realize it was a CMP type. Like, how the heck did my Giratina lose CMP? Like, you see my IVs on the right? I'm thinking there probably is a 14-10-10 because if that is the case, then dang. I guess, you know, losing CMP in the mirror fight is just heartbreaking because, well, it's probably going to cost me the game because, you know, seeing a Giratina with a high attack IV lose CMP to an opposing Giratina that doesn't have like the same attack IV as mine is just heartbreaking. We survive the Surf, all they have left is a Scavalier. I go for a Shadow Sneak, maybe we could do some damage to them, and sure enough we did. This is kind of problematic though because like both my Pokemon are dead. I could have not swapped the Giratina and let it die, but instead I opted to try and see what I can do with a Scavalier. Sure enough we grabbed their last shield and it would have mattered anyways because if I had sacrificed Giratina like I should have, then maybe I would have caught the Drill Run onto Tapu Fini and maybe won that match, but since I didn't, I lost the game. And of course, next opponent having a Steelix, what do you know? And also a Hundo too, so maybe they used max Mega Energy, they try to catch a Surf onto Giratina Altered. I'm gonna like throw in a Moonblast here, see if they expected it, and of course they shielded. Oh man, I hate that so much. I'm gonna let this go, because I know this is not a Shadow Force, it's an Ancient Power. Like dang, I catch the Ancient Power onto my own Giratina to see if it is the Ancient Power. Sure enough it is, so that's good to know. And of course I am behind on energy, so I'm just gonna like let this Dragon Claw go. I'm in the yellow, so I'm gonna like stack 2 of them, and they give up Switch Advantage. What the heck? Oh my goodness, this is kind of scary now because at least I have Shadow Sneak, so that's good to know, but Steelix has a lot of defense, like my goodness. And I threw on alignment, but that's okay. It is what it is. I go down. I'm going to wait out my clock to try and see if we can KO him at this range with Surf. I go for a Surf for Tapu Fini. It is a CMP, and hopefully, can we take it down? No, we cannot. They shielded, and you know what? I'm going to call a Psychic Fangs. It's an Earthquake, and I die. And you know what? This is kind of scary, though. I'm going to let this go, because I know this is not an Earthquake, so it's a Psychic Fang, so that's fine with me. They have their own Escavalier. They try to catch, and you know what? I'm going to, like, double shield at this point, because I'd rather, like, you know, get the shields, and thank goodness they didn't boost, so that's awesome by me. So I'm going to throw in a Drill Run. Doesn't quite kill them. I'm going to double shield here, so that way, like, once I KO the Giratina with a bit of counters, then I'll have, like, close to, say, like, back-to-back Drill Runs against their Escavalier, so that way I can, like, bring them down into the red, and then hopefully kill them with a counter, and see if we can survive the matchup, and sure enough, we did. Good game. Next opponent, another Steelix. Holy cow. Steelix is like not common, but this one is XL, as you can see by the CP of 2,500. So that's good to know. And I'm going to throw in a Surf here, bring it down into the red, which is like, whoa. I'm going to let this go. Or I ended up shielding because I thought it was going to be an Earthquake, but no, it's a Psychic Fangs. I'm going to let this go because it's a Psychic Fangs. Oh my goodness. Like, Psychic Fangs is nice, but I would fear that it's probably going to have its energy cost increase next season to 40. Although it could be very unlikely though, because yet Psychic Fangs, even though Poison Fang was nerfed because Nidoqueen was everywhere, it was best to nerf it. Because, you know, like Nidoqueen, I love using it, but now it's like, yeah, Nidoqueen is garbage. And of course, they killed me with a Focus Blast, but yeah, -2 defense. Yeah, sure, I would have died anyways. I'm gonna, like, let this go. Zap Cannon, oh my goodness. And of course they have his Lucario. I throw in an Acid Spray, but it doesn't even matter anymore. This match is pretty much wrapped in the bag here. And at this point, we could just go for 2 Shadow Sneaks, 1 to grab the shield, 2 for the KO. But that is a good game, well played to my opponent. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me using Tapu Fini in the Fantasy Cup. Be sure to like. A like is very much appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, this is Mr. Mimikyu, and I'm saying, peace out.